Smallpox is one of the deadliest diseases in the world. This disease was caused by the variola virus, which causes fever, vomiting, sores, and rash. Smallpox was a serious infectious disease that is very contagious and can spread from human to human contact. The origin of smallpox is unknown, as the disease is dated back to the 3rd century Egypt. Through the expansion of civilization, the use of trade routes, and colonialism, smallpox was able to spread worldwide. In the 18th century Europe, approximately 400,000 people died due to smallpox every year. In 1966, the infectious disease spread to over 50 countries where there were 10 to 15 million people affected, and from those, 2 million people died. An estimated 300 million people died from smallpox in the 20th century alone. There's a 30% chance of death once the disease is contracted, and those who survive have the possibility of suffering from deep-pitted scars and blindness.
I will be talking about prevention by vaccine. There's no true treatment for smallpox. Before the vaccine was invented, the way to treat smallpox was through inoculation. By infecting a person with a similar but less virulent virus called cowpox, that person could develop an immunity towards smallpox. Unfortunately, that meant that the person would become ill, and if not cured, this different virus could lead to death. A way to prevent contracting this disease is by getting a vaccine. This vaccine for smallpox was created by Edward Jenner in 1798. The vaccine is made of a live, similar virus that is less harmful called vaccinia. It can protect people from 3 to 5 years, and it is 95% effective.
This image shows the number of reported cases in 1950 across the world, and we can see that there is between 50,000 and 100,000 in Southeast Asia. What is eradication? According to the WHO, it is the permanent reduction of the incidence of an infection worldwide. Smallpox last natural outbreak in the United States was in 1949. It was eliminated in Central and South America in 1971. In Asia, the last case to be eliminated was located in Bangladesh in 1975. This was also the very last case of smallpox caused by variola major virus. The last endemic case recorded was in Somalia in 1977, and this was the last case caused by the variola minor. Following that, WHO has declared smallpox as the first disease in history to be eradicated in 1980. This image shows the different decades in which smallpox was eradicated by country. We can see that the last countries eradicated in the 60s and 70s are mostly from South America, Africa, and Asia.
Hello. Hello. I'm Elizabeth. Nice to meet you as well. So, can you read the steps to eradication?
Sure. So initially, they used Jenner's method of immunization. And even though it wasn't the safest way, it was successful. After using this method, the number of cases of smallpox began to decline in Europe. So although cases were declining, the goal of eradicating smallpox was only established in the 1950s. In 1959, the WHO proposed the eradication of smallpox through mandatory vaccination. However, this proposal was not implemented until the United States joined with technical and financial support. In 1956, a smallpox eradication unit was put in place with the help of the CDC, where all WHO member countries had to maintain program funds adequately, report existing cases, support people to do more research, and establish local programs. This unit kept on providing vaccines and small specimen kits for the countries that were still afflicted with smallpox. After the WHO was formed, they began their intensified smallpox eradication campaign in 1966. They primarily focused on South America, Asia, and Africa, where vaccinations had not been entirely distributed. The cost for the eradication campaign from 1967 to 1979 was $23 million US. $98 million was provided by the international donors and $200 million from the affected countries. The eradication was successful due to the political dedication and strong partnerships between the WHO and the CDC. Every country was responsible for making an effort, and members from the WHO would make sure they are aware of the progress of the campaign happening in the specific country they are visiting. There was also an increase in participation of the community and an increase through news with large donations made in 1974, which led to the eradication in the remaining 5 countries.
Tell me what the factors are that made it possible to eradicate this disease.
A factor that made it possible to eradicate this disease is that smallpox's major sign is highly visible, a rash that can be easily detected on the body. Furthermore, the incubation period of this disease is really short, meaning that it cannot be spread all over the body that quickly without getting noticed. Another factor is that there was increased awareness of this disease spread by the workers of the WHO. By displaying pictures of patients with smallpox and asking if people had seen anyone near them with those kinds of rashes, helped to locate people with smallpox. Another factor is that it is only transmitted from person to person, which is unlike many other diseases that can also be transmitted from animals, such as the ongoing coronavirus. Since smallpox has only one type of host that can be infected, it was easier to get it eradicated. Another factor is that the level of protection and prevention was huge because people who survived smallpox developed a lifelong immunity against the disease. In addition, people who did not contract the disease had highly effective vaccines which were given to large groups of people within a short period of time.
This is the most successful case of disease eradication. There are currently 2 other diseases that are almost completely eradicated, one of them being guinea worm disease and the other being poliomyelitis.